Welcome back and many thanks for keeping it KBC Channel 1. Well, it's a festive season and a season of giving, and the two persons that I have in studio at the moment, that is exactly what they do, giving back, amidst a myriad of challenges, but we will be looking at that. Allow me now to, with all humility, to welcome Miss Africa Great Britain 2024. I think we should some drum rolls. Her name is Deborah Mungai. She's also the Miss Proactive and Miss Congeniality. Of course, she will be telling us all about that. And what really caught my eye, she also has a project, Mungaro Mtaani project. We'll be looking at that. She'll be telling us all that she's doing to ensure that she gives back. Just next to her, we have Newton Ogada. Newton Ogada is a philanthropist, and he's also the director of God Will Provide Children's Home. And he's also on the forefront of ensuring that he's giving back to the society. Despite all the numerous challenges, these people have been put here by God to ensure that they alleviate the suffering of the disadvantaged in the community. Maybe to begin with you, Miss Africa Great Britain. Yes. How did you even land that position?
I will start by saying my story was inspired by someone I met on a Christmas party, actually. And I saw her, and I saw she was standing for a charity, but she was also beautiful, also elegant, and she had an amazing gown.
You're based in the UK,
I'm based in the
so
UK.
We're talking about UK or here?
So I'm based in the UK, and I was inspired back in the UK.
Okay.
Actually, I was in Milton Keynes, just to mention Milton Keynes. And I just saw her, and I said, I'm so inspired by what you do, and whatever, I want to know more. I want to know more. And we started talking, and she ended up mentoring me, and someone one day just sent me an application form for Miss Africa Great Britain, and I decided to apply. That was a moment of my life where I was deciding, what do I want to do with my life? I wasn't sure about my purpose, and that fell through, and I ended up going for the auditions and went through as a finalist. I was representing Northampton, which is in London, which is in United Kingdom, but also representing Kenya as well, just to do a cultural for Kenya. And they just announced me as the winner. I put so much hard work into it. I used to wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning, go to the gym and practice my walk, wear heels every single day, and the crown just landed on my head, but I don't think that it landed on my head for no reason, and I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful.
You've made history as the first Kenyan to have the coveted crown.
Yes.
But you also Miss Proactive and Miss Congeniality. Can you shed light on that?
Yeah, so Miss Proactive means I have been very active with the community. I have gone into events, spoke about what I do, and even just before I got into the crown, I actually have been supported, and I've been given so many awards, like being awarded as a local skills champion for Milton Keynes, and going into 10 Downing Street. I have supported my institute that I used to work with. I speak to the CEOs and I speak to principals, and I let them know about the issues that the youth are facing, and people like who go to the UK and face immigration issues. So Miss Proactive has not just been that, but I have taken an extra step to continue to live on that legacy. And for Miss Congeniality, it's amazing that it was a peer choice. So I got to support the other finalists every time that they had an issue, or they didn't know how to walk, or someone did a catwalk and they were not sure how to step. I was the girl who was always making sure I let them know how to do it, and just being supportive and living through my purpose. That's something that me and my mom talked about, that it's not about competition, but it's more about living through your purpose and supporting my fellow finalists. And they ended up choosing me, and I'm very grateful that they did choose me, and it's very joyful to know that they also see me as someone who's supportive as well.
And it's a good thing that your mom is also here to support you. And you also have started Mungaro Mtaani. You'll be telling us all about that, because you've told us that you've been involved in projects that give back to the society.
Yes.
Newton, you're also in giving back.
Yep.
And looking at what you've been able to do, because we've known each other for a couple of years, to be honest, and I do even remember the time we had COVID in the country. Even people, philanthropists like you, are having it a big challenge to continue giving, but you still continued. How is the situation, and especially when you talk about the healthcare? Because we have seen the SHA, they are really, have not really hit the ground. How is the situation?
Thanks you once again. It's long since I was here.
It's been a while.
And I thank God for making an opportunity again for us to discuss about what's happening in our communities and the effect. I think this country has been going through a lot of challenges when it comes to health and services. You remember a few days ago, I think I watched something that the doctors want to go for strike again because they've not been paid what the government agree to pay them. And few years ago, we had a lot of challenges because of COVID, which actually made many people die and some people lose their family members. Now we had NHIF for such quite number of years. You know, it's from long time, I think 89 or 90 there, until recently when now we had another forest called SHA and SHIF, which actually I still don't understand what was happening there and what is happening there. Remember, I'm running an hospital, so the challenge is really big. 2 months ago, I did a major medical camp in Homa Bay County at large. And if you see the turnout of the people who are coming to the medical, to get medical services, can tell you the challenge that people are going through, more so the less privileged people in the community. SHA, according to me, I think it's not a bad idea, but the implementation was the problem.
Rushed.
It was rushed. You know, when you want to skip from this to the other one, you must have a period of testing if it is working or not working. We had time. I think there was no rush of skipping to something. Then we start seeing the problem while people are sick. You know, we have some things that we cannot play with. We cannot play with somebody's life. By the time they were skipping from NHIF to SHA, remember there are some patients who are going through dialysis. And I don't know how they manage it because they could not manage to pay cash. And most of the hospital were almost closing. We sent a number of workers because we cannot afford to pay them when the patients are not there. So it has been a lot going through about health. And I don't know how long we'll actually cover what we have lost, because we have lost money, we have lost patients, and we still don't have integrity. Because when you want to deal with the issue of corruption, if the NHIF was having a lot of corruption, there's a way to deal with the corruption. Like today I saw maybe some people from the KRA has been sacked because corruption cases. We could have done this to the NHIF, and then we get ready, even after 2 years, to go to the SHA, if the SHA can work. Another challenge that people are going through there, which I've noticed, the level of the hospital. You'll find level 1, 2, 3 are allowed to see in and out patient and again to admit. But level 4, 5, 6, they only receive the referrals.
Yeah.
My question is, I go to an hospital which somehow close to me, and my case must be taken to a referral case, which is far away, maybe 6 kilometers away, and I am poor. How will I manage this? That is number one. This level 3 has been treating these cases until they feel themselves, now we need to refer. Yeah? Now, what if I'm living next to level 4 hospital and I go there for in and out patient, and I cannot be treated here, I must be taken somewhere far again to get in and out treatment. So these things, I still don't understand how it's going to work, but I think we as Kenyans, we need to think on how can we call a meeting to our Minister of Health. And we explain all this because sometimes we talk here at the TV station, we talk at the funerals, but these things are not reaching the people that should be reached. While people are dying, if you encounter how many deaths has happened since the season of NHIF and SHA, it's a big number. If you count the women who just deliver by the roadside, because a delivery case cannot be done in a level 3, it must be done in a level 4, which means this case must be taken to where? Must be taken to a level 4 hospital. If it is the distance, how will you manage it? And again, people still don't even know how much they should pay, because they charge you according to how you earn. If you build a house and it's cemented, your rate is high. You know, if you are working like Newton or doing something like Newton, your rate is high. Without even consulting and knowing how many people that Newton is taking care of. So they are giving you burden after burden, burden. So if we go this way with the country, I think we are going to miss out something.
Yeah, very
but
true.
But we should find a way of dealing with it.
Yeah. Issues have been raised, and especially for those patients who need dialysis, those who have terminal illnesses, hypertension, diabetes, and others. But we'll be looking at how you have been able to stay afloat. The doctors are saying that they're going to be proceeding to the industrial strike beginning next week, but we'll be looking at that. But I'm looking at, Deborah, I'm looking at also your work also involves giving back to the community. And one of the things that really caught my eye was Mngaro Mtaani. Kindly take us through.
Yeah, so Mngaro Mtaani, I'll start by the name and the word. The Mngaro Mtaani means kungara. You become clean, right? And Mtaani is back in our homes, right? So Mngaro Mtaani started as charity giving back clothes. And they thought about what they're doing, and they thought about, how about we give provision of skills? How about we clean our minds and give our minds, knowledge to create something for our lives? And Mngaro Mtaani for me started with a field trip. My mom took a field trip to World Vision, and I could see kids running around playing with, the paper bags that you make out, balls out of paper bags, right? So I saw kids playing out that, and I saw so much talent, I saw so much creativity, and I knew I wanted to give back to this community. I never knew when, and at that I was 12 years old. And now, connecting back to Mngaro Mtaani, I would love to give back by provision of skills in entrepreneurship, in women empowerment, and also in the boy child, because we don't want to leave anyone behind. And through those provision of skills, we want to bring people through courses, learn skills, and that will, spark a moment of, I want to start this business, or this is a market gap that I want to tap into. And I believe that giving the youth knowledge and giving the youth skills can create something big, because the only thing that they need to do is just work hard and move towards their goal, because I believe we create our own stories and we create our own lives, just the same way as how I moved when I moved to the UK at 14 years old. I could have easily just said, I've moved here and that's that. But I worked hard, I got myself a crown. I also have been impacting my community and supporting and mentoring them as well, because I believe the youth are our future. And if we decide to invest into them and decide to give them opportunities, they become better people, just the same way as I was given an opportunity, and I went there and I got myself a job, and I was working in McDonald's just to fund my skincare business. And those kind of things have empowered me and helped me understand what is my purpose. And
where exactly is Mngaro Mtaani, and what exactly have you been able to do so far, especially for the festive season, the season of giving?
It's actually fortunate for me that I was able to come to the UK at this period of the time, and I actually was on a field visit today. I went this morning and we saw a few girls, and
where exactly?
In Kariobangi.
Yes.
In Kariobangi. They were actually literally in the slums. And when I was actually looking for a charity, I wanted to look for a charity that is based in where we want to put impact, because that is where you will see the impact, and people will be able to come into these offices and this place. And we went around, we saw where they do hairdressing, where they do dressmaking, where they learn how to do makeup, IT skills and digital skills. And I'm so happy that it's a building that just grew. But when we went there, my mom was just saying this was nothing. There was nothing here. And 8 years later, we're coming back and we're actually seeing a building. We're seeing students, and we're hearing stories about what they're doing and how they're growing as individuals. Yes.
Newton, and we are addressing challenges, and especially in the health sector. I'm looking at the challenges faced by rural people, deep, like more or less the people that you support, and how we can make it easier for them to access specialized treatment. For example, I've just mentioned people, hypertension, diabetes, dialysis. When it comes to the rural area, it becomes a bigger challenge.
That's the question that we should ask those who came in with the idea of giving level force the mandate to treat those patients, because I'm sure they'd never go and do mapping how people live and the distance between the rural regions to the level 4 hospitals. You know, level 4 hospital is not just a small hospital, it's a well-equipped hospital. And actually sometimes even the pricing is higher than level 3s and dispensaries. So whoever came with the idea, I think, was just somewhere in Nairobi sitting and thinking to implement what you don't understand. Me as Newton, who has been in the community for now almost 15 years, these people, we have some death cases which are not supposed to be there. But they're there because of negligent poverty and accessibility to the health facility. So as now, it is difficult, and I cannot say that there's something good happening to them because it is hard for them to get access to the hospital. Because sometimes we have those who maybe have just malaria, but with another condition. Yeah? Maybe Siori is going through some other conditions. And she just need to visit a level 3 hospital. But with her other conditions, she need to be checked deeply. But we can't as level 3 because we have been told you have to go to level 4 because your child is not reading level 3. So this has bring a lot of challenges. So my idea was what I've been thinking, because I'm inside there, I'm supporting the widows. Just imagine, I have over 5,000 widows now that I support. These widows, they don't have anything. Most of the time you go, you support, you know, I've been building houses for them, you know, I've been feeding them. A person that I feed at times when I have something cannot access level 4 hospital, which somehow is maybe 10 kilometers away. And this has brought a lot of challenges. So I am just pleading to the government, because this is beyond Newton. If we can find a way to just bring back the system that we had before, but we are using the SHA or the SHIF. This is going to help a big deal. Or let the government build several level 4 hospitals around people. This when our people, because if you are going through a dialysis, I don't know if you have ever go across a patient who is going through dialysis. It is a process that you go every week.
Yes.
It is not something that you go and come back and you'll be okay for a month. It's a process that you go somehow every week. So suppose the level 4 hospital is 10 kilometers away or maybe 30 kilometers away, and you have to go every week. How will you manage this? It is not possible to manage such costs. It is even more expensive to the less privileged people than it was before with NHIF. Remember, we were only paying 500 shillings at the NHIF. Now, we don't know what we are paying. Some people are paying 0,
300.
some people are paying 300,
0, yes.
Some people are paying 1,000. So how will we define, how will we even know the money that we collect from our people for their insurance if we don't have the standard? Because when we have the standard and we say, let's say we have 300 million, I mean 30 million people who are less privileged, who are paying 500, automatically we know how much we are going to receive in a month. But this one, we cannot tell how much we are receiving. We cannot tell how much we are going to spend in this government. So if it was about to close the corruption way of dealing with whatever we call NHIF, then now it is open for all of us. Because now, just imagine if you are running an hospital, you are not able to see how many patients you have seen in a week. You cannot know how much money the government should pay you. And you are running an hospital. This is something which is going to kill most of private hospitals, while the public hospital has no medicine and has no integrity to manage our patients. So our patients are in pathetic situation. That is the truth of the matter, and nothing we can hide about it, because it's something there. If you go outside there, I had our daughter here was saying that she was in Kariobangi. Tell me, if those people can support themselves with this kind of medical insurance that we are going through now, somehow it's not going to work. I believe that our president was having a good plan on health issue, but the implementation is corrupt. We have to find a way of dealing with this implementation. We have to know how much is a person, if somebody is telling you that this SHA will only cover your 3 or 4 children in a span of 1 year, but you can only visit the hospital maybe 9 times. How many times do you want to, this thing is not making sense at all, my brother.
And away from the health, yes.
The health is the life. We don't need to forget about it.
Very true.
Me as Newton, what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to find a way of having an option to my people that I support. My option number 1 is, I want to take people through dairy farming so that they can make their way on getting their money, so they can pay for the better insurance, which can actually accommodate their problems when they are in need of health. But if this one is not improved the way it is as we speak, I am telling you, even as those who devoted to volunteer, it's going to be heavy on us.
And still on the same and away from health, I've seen that you have also done extension services to counties like Turkana, all the way from Nyanza to Turkana, and it's not the only place that you've done extension services. How are you guys coping? Because everyone, including us who are in employment, we are quite stretched, if you ask me.
What I say, you see, my name is Newton Ogada, Director of God Will Provide. God always provide. God always will provide. Like I was out a few days ago. I came back in like 4 or 5 days ago. When I went there, I went to defend the medical camp that we did in the month of October. And I have signed another contract of well-wishers who want to do another medical camp in March. So what I'm doing, because it's not only my county going through all these medical issues. So I always balance. Like now already I choose Narok County, Bomet County, and Noma Bay County. When it comes to March next year, I'm going to have 2 weeks medical camp. When we are doing this medical camp, we do like comprehensive one. The one that we did in October, we even did eye surgeries when we worked with our county government. We went extra deep. So what I'm doing, I'm sure God is seeing what I'm doing. So I still have some well-wishers who actually support the medical course, and I'm still campaigning to meet more people who are interested on health services so that we can actually work. And I'm calling upon this. I think it's good for me to be here to say this. Even as Kenyans, we can still sit down and look for our medical experts. Then we organize how many counties do we need to. So Newton will just look for how can we get the medicine. On 23rd this month, I'm going to do medical services somewhere in Bondo, which is in Siaya County. I already have. So I've been managing, I don't know how, but because name is God Will Provide, God has been providing.
All right. Let me come back to Deborah Mungai, who is Miss Africa, Great Britain. That incorporates all the other countries just next to in the UK, right?
Yes.
In one of your reports is that you do love empowering girls.
Yes.
And you also said in as much as you're empowering girls, but not leaving the boys behind. Yes. Kindly expound on that as Miss Africa.
Yes, so I believe that the youth is not just girls. Sometimes we empower women, but we forget about the boy child. The boy child also needs that support and needs to be mentored. In fact, I also mentor a boy as well, and he is very passionate about entrepreneurship back in the UK. And I believe that we don't want to leave anyone behind. We came with the hashtag don't leave anyone behind. And even when it comes to things like hygiene, we don't talk about hygiene in the boy child. We speak more about, giving out sanitary towels, which is amazing, and we will continue to do that. But we also want to speak about hygiene for the men. We want to speak about how can we improve them when it comes to going to driving schools, when it comes to being a mechanic. How can we support you? Because I believe sometimes it's easy to just support a lady and say, you will get there, compared to the history of how women have been. But I believe that going in the future forward, we can also not leave the boys behind as well.
And yes, it's a beauty pageant that you won, but there are some roles that come with the crown.
Yes.
What exactly are you doing, both in the UK and also here in Kenya?
Yeah, so...
And Africa as well.
Yes, and I'm hopefully going to expand even more to Nigeria, and we'll go all over the world and just empower the youth. But the crown is not just about beauty. I call it beauty with a purpose. Yeah. So beauty with a purpose means going into charities, not just empowering, but also letting people know about the work that they do and representing and being an ambassador of the work that they do. Not just even ambassadoring for charity, but ambassadoring for my country, Africa, or my country, in Kenya, and Africa or in general in the Great Britain. So it's just more than that. During the finale, we have gone more when it comes to what do I call it? When it comes to being proactive and letting people know about Miss Africa and what Miss Africa is about, because it's more about being an ambassador for women and men as well. So it's more than just being beautiful and just standing on camera and that's that. It's more about being an ambassador and being a voice for change. I believe that being a voice for the youth, sometimes we might be discouraged or not think our hopes and dreams are invalid because of our outside circumstances. But I believe that giving me this crown has given me the opportunity to speak for the youth. Every time that I speak about the crown, I always make sure I let people know how I describe the crown in my perspective. And for me, it has thorns and it has different branches. So for me, it's about the people who have supported me to become the person that I am, the people who I'm going to, the diamonds represent the impact of them, thousands of youth that we're going to be impacting as well. And it goes down into my roots. And that is why I made this trip this week, is to get down into my roots and understand my authenticity, understand who I was as a child. And that is something I have actually seen in the Kenyan youth. The Kenyan youth are very authentic, they're very relatable, and that is something I also want to continue to bring on.
We call them Gen Zs here.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we will be talking about Gen Z and their voice because in June they showed the whole world and Kenya in particular that indeed we have a voice and you cannot lock us out. Newton, we are in the festive season and I believe this is one of the most challenging year, if you ask me, in terms of festivities and in terms of the economy. And people will be looking at you, whether you've said that God will provide, and indeed He does provide. Whether you have or you don't, people will still be looking up to you in terms of health, in terms of food. The widows will still be knocking at your door, and of course the orphans that you support. How are you surviving, of course, during this festive season, and how do you intend to help these people out? Because they really do need your help.
You know, I am a human. I am a man. I only do what I can do. I don't go beyond because people have a lot of expectation. But there's something that came to my mind and my idea, that this burden, I cannot carry it forever. We must look for an alternative way of doing things. We must look for how can we manage ourselves without getting support from the non-governmental organization, individuals, and even from the other people that support us. If we don't look it that way, we are going to fail big in the future. Because like now, everybody is celebrating about this festive season and people want to travel back in the country, people want to eat and what have you, while not knowing we have only 2 weeks to school openings, which is coming with a load of work and a lot of money and a lot of thinking. We don't even think about what will be the result after celebrating all this. So we need to start having a conversation, teaching our people on how they should manage themselves when it comes to festive seasons like now. And again, in the charity way, I will still have something to bite with people, as I've been doing it. You remember that the other year I fed more than 2,500 people. But this is not enough. What is enough? Can we find the sustainable way of dealing with it? Can I tell you something? I'm brought up by a family. And this family, when long time ago, they were coming to me and asking me, our son, what are we going to get for this festive season? And I was giving them something. Then I said, how long will I give these people whatever I'm giving now? The best I can do is to empower these people so that they can survive themselves without coming to me to get. Can I surprise you? 2 years ago, they came and bought for me a suit because I started them something that can bring money. To the community, I told you that I have a concept which I presented 1 week ago in the United States of America. I presented this issue of dairy farming. You know, in Nyanza, we don't do dairy farming. And I'm seeing there's a potential of giving people, showing people how to fish than giving them fish. So this year, it's going to be a burden to me. But from next year, January, which is now 2 weeks, I am going to set a program of giving every widow a cow, grade cow, so that they can produce milk and sell to a company and get back their money, and they can be self-sustained. So they will never come back to me and ask me, oh, Bwana Director, now my children are going to school. Even now, if I read all my messages, they're about school. And some are about Christmas, which is not, I cannot afford myself because even me have a family. But what I believe in working hard. Just, I told you the other day, I was driving a matatu here, Babadogo number 25. I was not brought with a very serious family where everything was in the table. I struggle, I hustle here in Nairobi. And when I thought of going back to support my community, then God provided for me what people can get. So being I had that idea, I am telling you without fear that if people buy our concept of working hard, you know why we are going bad on maybe health, education, and whatever? Because we still believe on imports. But I want to convince our country people that we need to deal with export. When we are exporting, which means we are getting something back to our pocket. But when we are importing, we are losing every single day. But if we don't go that way of export, then we are going to die. Look what China is doing now. Because they accepted that they can do small, simple job and get a lot of customers and make a lot of money. If we go and settle in one thing that we need to do, Kenya will be great, because Kenya is the richest country we have in Africa. But we are just misusing funds, and we became so lazy, and we want to, everybody want to be given. I'm trying for my community, for my country, we don't need to go that way. There are things we can support, like health. For example, we talk about health. Giving back to the community by giving free medical care, that is a plus to us. But I should not give free medical care, then I'm giving food in the evening. That is not going to work with me. So in my administration where I am working, I already set aside that this year, 2025, we are going to make sure that we are going to give back to the community on trainings and giving agricultural equipment so that people can raise up by themselves, and we start exporting things from wherever we are to even the nearest county. This is going to help us. But what I'm saying, the government is not doing bad. You know, everybody is crying about Ruto. Ruto is a human. He's just a person like Newton. He's just having a symbolic. He's just there as he stand for Kenya. Ruto will not come and give you food in your house. He cannot do that. It is you to stand against the poverty. It is you to stand against the challenges that you have. Then you will never see any problem with Ruto. But we are seeing problem with our leaders because we are lazy. For me, I am crying because I have a burden for people. But if I'm alone, I don't need to cry anything, because I live a better life because I'm getting my food stuff from my farm.
But with all fairness, and especially when you talk about the youth, the opportunities that are not there, it's not that these people are not trying. And that is why I also wanted to rope in Deborah, because you also support a lot of youths. Through Ngaro Mtaani, tell us maybe how you are empowering youth, and especially for their voice, because we saw in June that these are people who cannot be ignored. They form the biggest bulk of our population. But if we look at the opportunities that are there in the country, where that leadership, they are not quite seizing these opportunities. But in June, they showed us that, oh, we are here and we are ready to seize this opportunity.
Yes. I mean, I'll start by mentioning that we will be launching the course and the project in March, April next year. So it will be a great opportunity. I will be here in the country, and it will be a great time for us to launch the project and let people know what we're doing. But also I believe that these kind of issues start with awareness. They start with, these are the issues that we're facing in Kariobangi or in these specific areas. And when we start with awareness, people see us, just the same way as we were talking about Gen Z and the protests that we've seen, and even to do with femicide. Actually thinking about femicide, it might have been happening in the past, but through the awareness of these things, now we know better, and we know what to do, and we know to take care of ourselves right before we go anywhere. So I believe it's awareness comes first. And for me personally, myself, I'm giving my time. I'm giving my the reign and the crown is for Ngaro Mtaani. Actually, before I even won the crown, I had already chosen the charity. I said, whether I'm winning or not, this project will be launched and we will do work. And I believe something that I've been discussing the other day was going to actually speak to the youth and asking them, what are the issues you are facing? And I believe that when we have these connections and when we network to the right people, we speak about these issues and we let them know what's happening and what can we do. We continue to push, because I believe there's awareness, but there's also action as well. So letting us know what are they facing, and then for us to take action through that. And the projects that we're doing currently, like the dressmaking and the courses that we're doing are also giving them actively time for them to put their energy into the right things, because it's very easy for us to stay at home and divert into, let's say, drugs, or divert into the wrong crowd, right? So that is what I think, and that is my perspective.
And how can you network with the youth, and especially now that you're Miss Africa Great Britain? How are you networking with the youth to ensure that matters governance, matters now that we're in the digital space, they can get so many opportunities despite the fact that they're here in the country? Yes.
For me, personally, myself, I believe that going to the source is the best thing. So having a gathering like how I went to Mungaro today is a time for me to speak to the youth. And I'm not very, I'm a queen and I don't want to speak. No, I believe that they're the people that put me in this, in this position, and the crown is for that purpose specifically. So for me, going to speak to them right, direct, letting them know, okay, so how's your day going? What are the issues you're facing? How can I help you? Not just for the youth, but I have gone to a podcast actually yesterday called Mtoto News, and we were speaking about career paths, and some of them are actually struggling with career paths and not knowing what path to take. And for me, I was not a success story, but kind of letting them know what my journey was. And I went through so many different journeys, and they all just came together and we aligned for the crown specifically for me. So I believe going to the source and speaking directly to what are you facing? Because it's easy to say, oh, they're facing this and they're facing that, but going directly to the source is great. And actually last night I went to speak to someone who was selling shoes, and I was asking them, what are your aspirations? Where do you want to go? And they were not sure about it, because I believe maybe they believe that their hopes and dreams are not valid or they don't exist. But I believe even that opportunity for me to speak to them was actually an opportunity for them to, think about it and know, where do I want to go? So, yeah.
And Newton, I think that resonates with this question that what exactly, because you have orphans as well, and they grow up and become people in the society, respected people in the society. How are you ensuring that you also impact their lives in terms of seizing opportunities that are there? Just like you said, you can't just say...
Before I forget to tell you something, I was a youth once. I did not just grow up the way I am. I was a youth. And I went through all what people are thinking. It's difficult. The laziness in the country is something that we need to deal with. We can be productive. We can do something. We can, like our daughter here is saying, she's now Miss Africa.
But with all fairness, Newton, there are no opportunities for the youth. That is why you see the government deciding to look for jobs outside the country.
Let me tell you. I talked about China. They never went out to look for job outside the country. They decided to find on how they can manage themselves in their country. If all of us run away and we go to a different country, how will we build Kenya? We have a lot of opportunity in this country. I'm talking on what I understand. Yes. I'm talking on what I understand.
There are opportunities, but they're not enough, right?
I've been watching this channel all the time. I've been seeing you guys bringing young vijana here talking about how they start doing even, how do we call it, fish farming or something. I've been watching all those things. They never start from heaven. We need, our youths are the laziest people I've ever seen in the world. Because we keep on complaining about the government to provide job all the time. But we can provide job for ourselves. For example...
I would like you to look at the camera and try and encourage them. Because I think that is the first thing that they need.
Let me tell you in the camera that we can stand up and make our country great. Our youth of nowadays, they don't want hard job. They want white-collar job. That's why...
Not all of them. Speak for all of them.
But the majority, just listen to the majority. The president of this Republic of Kenya, the former and the current, worked so hard and built a lot of technical institute in the communities where you can learn even plumbing, you can learn all these electrical works. Our youth, they don't want that. They want to go and learn science or something, which it will be difficult to get job. If you go to this university where we are paying a lot of school fee, you will find your child suggested to pick something like, to do like a health record. Hospital, we need only 2 or 3. And in that class, we have 200. Where do you think they're going to get the job? I am trying to advise our youth that let us take any job that come across. This job that come across, me, Newton, I went to school. and I decided to be a carpenter. Do you think carpenter is just something that a youth will go and do? I did it. I am a carpenter by profession. I decided to be a driver by profession. After that is when I went to college. Now I am who I am. I did not choose that I must go to Nairobi University to be who I am today. I never stepped in Nairobi University, but I'm not badly off. So which means if we put away our thinking of, I want to be who I want, and you don't want to work hard, you're going nowhere. And we are going to kill our country. I'm against the issue of us going to other countries to build. When I was in America recently, Trump said something which I really supported. He said, if you came to America with backdoor, I have to take you back to your country and build your country, because you are supposed to build your country, not in America. So the best we can do is to have a forum like this, to talk with our children, to tell our children what they can do. They can be creative. They can do something. Somebody like Eric Omondi, do you think he's a poor person? He is not. He is just a creative person. He just make it happen. We have many people who are here. They just decide to be creative and they make life and they support people. If we don't go back and do agriculture, we don't go back and do plumbing, where do you think, like where we sit, this table was built by who? By a carpenter. This chair was built by who? So if we can produce a lot of this furniture, we can produce all what we can produce, and we look market outside the country, we are going to build our economy without even crying that we need job. President cannot provide job within 5 years. Even if I become the president tomorrow, I cannot promise our Gen Zs that I'm going to provide job for all millions of Gen Zs that we have. The Gen Zs should wake up and rise. I've seen people in the community who are just doing small job. They feed their family so well, they take their children to school, and they make it in life. So what we are lacking, if I ask you a simple question, what do you think our country is exporting, even in Uganda? But when you go to the border, you'll find all pineapples we are eating in Nairobi are coming from Uganda. You will see all banana we are eating is coming from Uganda, which means even 2 shillings that we have is still crossing the border and going to Uganda. We are importing things from China. If I ask you, this glass, if you read it, maybe it's from China. Who told you we cannot make glass in Kenya? Why do you have to import it from China? It is just that we need to implement and make a strong foundation on what our children will get in the future. But who are our children? The ones that are saying they are Gen Z, and they want a job, and the job is not there, they sleep. You will find a 60-year-old person is waking up by 5 in the morning going to the garden. Then a Gen Z who is 25 years old sleeping until 9, and still crying to get a job. Where on earth? So we must make sure that our Gen Z, our youth, stand in like our daughter here, who just stood up and went to UK, I think, and you made it, and now you are coming here to teach our men. We can still do it. I believe we cannot go 100%. And get what we need. But what if we are 60% who are working hard? 60% is better than 40%. So we can make something happen. So my plea to the government of this Republic of Kenya, being led by Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto, is to find a way. You remember when Museveni was in this country recently, I think they were having something. You know, he told us that Uganda are producing their own cotton cloth. The land in Uganda is similar. The land in Kenya. Why don't we grow cotton and make our own clothes instead of importing clothes from Europe?
All right. Of course, there are other dynamics involved in that of which we should be looking at. But coming to you, Miss Africa, Great Britain 2024, I'm looking at your story is very inspiring.
Yes.
You had this since you were 14 years old. Now you're 21 and you're a beauty queen. There are some complexities or challenges that you also have faced on, even when you're trying to empower youth through either Mng'aro Mtaani or even trying to empower young boys and young girls as well, as you said.
Yes, yes. I mean, some of the issues that, as I spoke about, was more so people feeling like their hopes and dreams don't exist or they're not there, and that is a challenge that I cannot change, or I can't change someone to have hopes and dreams or realize what they do. But I believe that being an example and being an example of my own, not just of my own story, of the story that I want to create of myself, can be an amazing way to showcase what is possible. Because I was 14 years old when I moved to the UK, and it was a big culture change, and it was moving from Kenya, where you have a lovely, amazing community, and going to the UK where you don't know anyone. I don't know anyone there. I only just came with my mother and my sister. But I believe the stories that we bring and the, you know, being a showcase of what you want to empower, even going down to the amazing things that I've been able to do, like supporting the BAME Hub UK back in Kenya. That is a Black African minority group, where we went to the Thames Police and we spoke about things like knife crime, talking about to our community and bringing awareness of those kind of things and sensitive topics like those. I believe that being an example is a great way to showcase what is possible. And the other day I actually went back to where my mom was born in Nyandarua, and the kids were so excited to see me with a crowd and a sash, and they were so inspired. And I believe that going into those places and showing them that this is what you can bring and this is where you can go is the way forward.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are almost running out of time, but Newton will give you a minute for your closing statements.
My closing statement, I would advise our people to work hard, and I will advise our government to implement opportunities that can bring hope to our Kenyans, and again to find a way of dealing with our youths more in school and outside school. And I'm praying for more avenues to open for us, not to go and get something outside, but to make sure that we can build ourselves and build our country. May God bless Kenya. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, Newton. Deborah, tell us something about your future plans as we wrap up.
Yes, Miss Africa Great Britain was just my first ever crown and ever in pageantry, and I was so excited to represent Kenya. Kenya in the UK, and it was such an amazing opportunity. And even coming back here was such a privilege. I was so welcomed, like I never left, and it was such an amazing opportunity. And I hope to continue to inspire others and continue to showcase my life and showcase what is possible. And for our leaders is to let them know to take youth empowerment seriously, because if I was empowered, imagine there are thousands of youth out there that can become a great person as I am today. Yes.
And what I pray is that, because, you know, UK is has a bit more opportunities for the youth.
Yes.
Kindly come with those lessons right here. Our Gen Zs right here.
Yes, that is why.
That.
Yes, that's
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Beauty Queen Deborah Mungai, who is the Miss Africa Great Britain 2024, and also Miss Proactive and Miss Congeniality. Thank you so much indeed for coming and making time, and also speaking to the young men and women who are watching. Yes. Congratulations again.
Thank
and
you.
Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Newton, thank you indeed so much. Newton Ogada, who is a philanthropist and also the director of God Will Provide, that is in all the way in Nyanza. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm giving my baton to my colleague Khalid Abdullahi, who is coming up next with Kurunzi Mashinani and Tamrini. But I'm wishing you also a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And my colleague Abdi Aziz Hashim will be holding the fort tomorrow from 10 to 12. Many thanks from me, Bentro Njue, and also Brian Muraru, who is on the bottom of your screen handling the sign language interpretation. Do have a good one and keep it Channel 1.